Okay, everybody, welcome back to the late chat. Now that the audio is fixed, I did a contest earlier on in the month where I was giving away the 31 disc collection of Lord of the Rings. And today we're going to congratulate the winner of the entire box set, which I think is something like a $200 retail price tag on that. And that winner is Barista Maniac. Congrats. Wrong button. Congrats. Barista Maniac, you have won the Middle Earth 31 disc Ultimate Collector's Edition. What a magnificent 4K transfer on these discs. It may very well be. I think it might have been the best transfer for... What year did this come out, guys? 2020? This might have been the best discs to come out in 2020. Absolute best. I don't think it was on my best list, but I think this might be the best 4K discs ever. And Barista Maniac, you're going to win it. His response was, I appreciate the Hobbit trilogy more because I read that book numerous times growing up. Merry Christmas and thank you for the opportunity. Well, you're very welcome, Barista Maniac. You have won this. I did reach out to you earlier, so this will be in the mail, so be on the lookout for that. I'm usually a little slow mailing things out, but rest assured, you will be getting this in the mail. So keep an eye out for future giveaways as well. All you got to do is watch the video, like, share, subscribe. Of course, you guys are subscribed because you're already here. But leave a comment every time I do a giveaway, and I'll randomly pick your comment, and you can win something like this. You know what I'm saying? One of the best, one of the best 4K transfers ever. So congrats on that, Barista. What else we got here? All right, what else? Hold on. Like I was saying earlier, Gene is going to join a little bit later, probably around 11:30. So let's filibuster a little bit here, kill some time. I had a couple topics we could talk about, right? First being, how about last night's Disney Plus stream, or today's Disney Plus stream of Boba Fett? Came out earlier today, 3 a.m. last night, or 3 a.m. this morning, to be more precise. So I stayed up at 3 a.m. waiting to be blown away. And I think the only big takeaway that I took from the stream was they showed how I really liked, I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but if you didn't see it, sorry. Well, they showed how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit. He kind of like blasted his way out. So that was kind of cool to see. But, visually, it looked very much the same as The Mandalorian. Nothing surprising there. The audio mix, static mix all the way through. So it's basically 7-channel mix with some Atmos effects here and there. 7.4.1 or 7.1.4. So nothing really dynamically moving in keeping with the top 10 list that we're going to talk about later. But, visually it's a clean 4K look. The only thing I really didn't like about it was like when he was in I don't know if he was in Mos Eisley or whatever the cantina he was in. I just hated the fact that everything was like so clean looking. So it really didn't blend into what was going on in Return of the Jedi, which was a little bit more grittier, I guess, a little bit more dirtier. Everything seemed a little bit more cleaner in Boba Fett, the TV show, which supposedly happened, I guess, right after Return of the Jedi, or during Return of the Jedi, right? After the ship blew up and Jabba's tanker blew up, or whatever is Jabba's houses. But a little bit weird that, he was kind of thin in Return of the Jedi. But then when he comes out, he's noticeably heavier. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it happens like right when he drops into the Sarlacc pit. So I'm not sure why they couldn't since he's got a helmet on, why they couldn't just find a, thinner guy with the helmet on. Then when it takes the helmet off, maybe he just looks like he does now. I don't know. That's a little bit jarring to me. But first episode was a little bit boring. It's only like 30 minutes long. I wasn't too happy about that. I wasn't like blown away about this first episode. Unlike The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian was much better. Like it kind of like captured you right from the beginning when he was going off and hunting for that fish guy with the gills. But this one was just kind of like, you know, we'll see what happens in episode 2. But yeah, as far as like AV quality though, you know, typical, I guess, Disney quality. It looks great. It does look really good. It doesn't match really what's going on in the first, you know, the prequel movies, not the prequel movies, the original trilogy. I wish they would have had a little bit more graininess to them to make it, the show kind of blend in better, but it is what it is. You know, we got today's new technology. Everybody likes the 4K crispy look. You know who you guys are. You guys hate the film grain. You like the crispiness. And the audio sucked as well. Typical Disney audio Atmos mix. What else do we got here? Let me read my topics here. Oh. In 4K news, this is a big one. I feel like this is a big one. I've done this review twice already. I've reviewed this movie twice already. I reviewed it first, I'm going to say sometime like 2016. And then I reviewed it again this year. I think it was this year. Was Edge of Tomorrow. I feel it's a very underrated movie. Like, people just hated it when it first came out. But if you've actually watched it, it's a very interesting sci-fi action thriller movie. Like Groundhog Day, the science fiction version of Groundhog's Day, starring Bill Murray, but this time starring Tom Cruise. So supposedly it's coming out sometime, I think maybe March or something like that in 2022 on 4K Blu-ray. For you guys that don't mind digital streams, it's been on Vudu forever for the past few years, at least back for the past 4 or 5 years or so, maybe longer, because I think I reviewed it back in 2016. That's when I first found out that there was an Atmos mix for it, and I do believe I reviewed it back then. And then when I got the Kaleidoscape this past year, I bought it. Shout out to Warner Brothers for putting that on the Kaleidoscape, full resolution with an uncompressed Dolby Atmos lossless mix. So shout out for Kaleidoscape for getting their hands on that like several years earlier than physical media. One of the best, my top 10 ever. I think I did a video on this as well with Enzo from Home Theater Engineering. One of my top 10 best audio mixes like ever. If you have a home theater system, definitely check out Edge of Tomorrow on Vudu. I know most people don't have a Kaleidoscape, but if you do, you should buy it. It's like $40 on the Kaleidoscape. That's a tough pill to swallow, but I feel like it's a classic movie with stellar visuals and stellar audio as well. So definitely check that out. But if you don't care about streaming, it's on Vudu. It's like $10 or something like that. Listen, don't be cheap. It's $10. That's like a value meal at McDonald's. But pick it up. That is supposedly coming out next year, 2022, on 4K Blu-ray. Long-awaited title. One of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know if I'm going to review it again because I'm almost positive it's going to look and sound exactly the same as it does on the Kaleidoscape, unless they tweak the audio a little bit. But I don't think they're going to do that though. Obviously, it's going to look better and sound better than the Vudu stream. But listen, if you just can't wait, buy it on Vudu. If you have a Kaleidoscape, you should already have it. It's like a no-brainer. I don't know what the news is on Heat as well, but I feel like I've reviewed Heat a couple times also. Like it's Heat. That's one of my top 5 movies of all time. Heat. That's on Vudu in 4K. It's also on the Kaleidoscape in 4K. None of those transfers have an Atmos mix, so I don't know if it's going to get an Atmos mix, but I really don't think so. But I would expect that to come out in 2022 as well, because that's been like the rumor forever. And coming up next week, we have got, I think, the review for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which there's going to be a box set for that. So you're going to get the original Ghostbusters from, what is it, 84, 85, then Ghostbusters 2, and then Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you didn't see Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's kind of just a continuation of the original 2 movies. I think there was like a big drama with not including the 2016 Ghostbuster reboot with all the female cast. But I guess director Paul Feig has one out, and they are going to include that in the upcoming box set as a digital stream. So you're going to get the 3 original movies in 4K Blu-ray disc format, and then you're going to get the digital stream for the 2016 all-female cast starring Thor. Which, hey, listen, I didn't hate the movie. I actually thought Chris Hemsworth was actually very funny. He's probably the best part of that movie. And if you saw it in 3D, it actually had some pretty good 3D as well. So that's going to be, I think I'm going to be working on that 4K review next week. Sometime, maybe like on a Friday, next Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Also next week, I think Sony's announcing their new 4K displays, their new 4K TVs, the new XRs. The plan is to do a live stream for that sometime Tuesday with Value Electronics, if he has the okay to talk about it and pricing and all that stuff like that. So, I mean, be on the lookout for that video. I think we should be streaming probably around Tuesday, like I think the actual announcement from Sony is at 10 a.m. Tuesday. I mean, I already know what model TVs they are. I can't really say what they are, but Robert, if he gets the okay, he's gonna talk about, you know, like prices of models that he's gonna carry in store, like if you guys want to pick it up, stuff like that. So we're just gonna go over all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that on Tuesday the 4th. Hopefully it goes through. Hopefully he gets some permission for that. But what else do we got here? I got a few other questions we're going to talk about whenever Gene gets on here. A few topics that we get some emails on. But who do we got? Who else do we have in the chat here? Let's kill a couple more minutes here. Answer some questions. Your opinion of iTunes 4K streaming quality in general? I like iTunes 4K streaming. I think it's probably one of the best streaming services on the Apple TV, at least. I don't know what it's like on the iTunes. I mean, on Roku or your built-in apps, but every time I stream a movie, typically it's on iTunes. You know what? You know, honestly, I think it's a little bit hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes I find it's better on. Sometimes it's between Vudu and iTunes. So I kind of fluctuate between those two, actually. Now that I think about it. But I think I usually lean towards iTunes because I just like the user interface a little bit better. Like I like the way they have like the thumbnail and everything like that. Like it seems more user friendly if you're streaming with through the iTunes user interface. Devin La, hey Shane, at Spare Change, you have to forgive me. I've been battling COVID-19 and a mild stroke. I've been just taking it too. Man, shout out to you, Devin. I haven't seen you in the chat forever. But then again, I haven't really been on. But hopefully you're getting over your COVID-19. If you are familiar, if you've been watching like the 2 channel reviews, I do believe Bill, my partner in crime for reviewing speakers and amplifiers, he's also got COVID-19 as well. Like he can't taste anything, he can't smell anything. So we were actually supposed to shoot a video on Monday, but he's been at a commission for a couple of days, so he's like home. So he's got the COVID. And luckily, listen, I've been out and about, you know, here and there. So I've been kind of lucky that I've been able to avoid getting COVID. At least not that I'm aware of. If I've had it, I've definitely not felt sick at all. But you know, fingers crossed I don't get it. But hopefully you get better. Hopefully you get better, buddy. I'm sure you'll pull through. You'll be fine. You ever do the giveaways, Hacksaw and Lord of the Rings? Kenneth Green, I just announced the winner for Lord of the Rings earlier today and Hacksaw Ridge. Did I? I feel like I announced the winner of that earlier as well. I'm gonna have to go back and see what I did for that one. But I'm pretty sure somebody got their hands on that one. I know I gave up digit. I know I gave the digital code away on Patreon, so I definitely did do that. Oh yeah, here we go. I saw Matrix in IMAX theater. I liked it. Let's talk about the Matrix really quick. I don't know how you guys felt about the Matrix. I don't like to do movie reviews. I'm not a movie reviewer, but hey, we're here late tonight. It's like almost 11:30. I felt like I felt like the audio. Well, first of all, the video quality. Let's talk about the video quality instead of the shitty movie. Like, let's face it, it's kind of a shitty movie. They kind of just like redid the first movie all over again. They took a lot of the same beats and did it all over again. And the one thing I think I mentioned in the review as well, it's like they there was no defining set piece in the Matrix Resurrections at all. Like, there's a defining set piece in the first Matrix. It's the lobby shootout. In the second one, there's like the highway shootout. In the third one, it's the pretty much the entire third act where the Sentinels just converge on Zion. So every one of those three movies, there's like a huge set piece that you can just throw the disc in, and you can reference it back and just be like, yo, this is what we're checking out right now. You got 5 minutes of just pure action and mayhem. It sounds awesome. It looks awesome. Each one of those three original movies in the trilogy just have one of those set pieces that you automatically conjure up in your head. You know what it is. In this one, there's none of that. I can't think of one thing. I can't think of a scene that sticks out in my mind positively. What does stick out in my mind was how bad the fight choreography was in the whole the Merovingian scene. Like, he shows up like he's a homeless guy. Spoiler alert if you didn't see it. The Merovingian's like a homeless guy. He shows up for like 2 minutes, and there's a battle scene with random homeless people. I don't even know who the people are, but it's so bad. I think that is the best part of the movie. I think that might be the main action set piece. I could be wrong on that, but that's the only thing I can really think of. But that whole fight scene was like, you know that Keanu Reeves is John Wick, but why did you make him do the shittiest action during this scene? Like, he's so much better than whatever you guys are shooting. It was like so CW type of the Flash fight sequences in this whole section. It was just bad. I was like, God damn. I was like, I thought this movie was going to turn around. This is like the first action piece in the whole movie. I think there might be some action before, but I think this is the main thing. It was just like so bad. Like, what is happening here? I feel like this movie's not going to turn it around. And for the rest of the movie, it was just basically a retelling of the entire first movie. It was just the whole first movie again. And then Agent Smith is not even in it. We get the guy from Hamilton, the president from Hamilton, or the king from Hamilton was in it, who's playing Smith. So I don't even know. I felt like there was a loss of Agent Smith being in the movie. Gene's here.
Mr. Anderson.
Did you see Resurrections?
I saw like the first hour and I couldn't stay awake. And I just remembered, I was like, the sound effects were cool, but I wasn't like
engaged,
drawn into the story.
Yeah, they were just talking about that really quick. But yeah, that's there you go. I mean, Gene wasn't even engaged in the movie. The movie was just fucking bad. And I stayed up
the Atmos was good, man. You didn't have to down mix it and turn it into an oral representation. I mean, you had good height effects.
Yeah, the Atmos was decent. Yeah, I did the review, so I was happy with the Atmos. I was happy with the video quality for, a current movie. Like, it was a clean, crisp 4K movie. But that being said, like, it didn't match the first three movies.
Why didn't they bring back the original actor that played Mr. Anderson? I mean, he's still alive and he's still relevant.
Yeah, I think he was scheduled to be in the movie, then something happened that he couldn't be in the movie or whatever. I think they were talking about today. I didn't listen to the
Although story. I do like the guy that played him because he was in like
Hamilton.
He was in that Hamlet. No, Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good actor. But I don't know. I like the first Matrix and maybe the third one, but
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves to me is still a B actor. I know that he's got love with the Gen Zers now, but he's just not
Yeah.
a great actor, man. He can't carry a movie. I'm sorry, unless it's like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or something.
Even the third Bill and Ted was like kind of
I
shitty.
didn't see that one
Yeah.
yet either.
Yeah, that was shitty as well. But man, yo, Matrix Resurrections was just like, fuck, what a bomb. I'm so. It seems like everything they released early on HBO Max this year was just it needed to be on HBO Max. It was just like all these movies were like so bad they were made for streaming. Except
I
maybe
liked Don't Look Up on Netflix, which was like I think that was a Netflix exclusive movie, but and it didn't even get good ratings, and I really enjoyed that, man. That was
yeah,
best.
that was good too. I like that a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dark comedy, satirical type of thing. Maybe like I think it was based on like climate change, but I think they changed it a little bit because of COVID.
It was based on denying science. I mean, that's really the crux of it. You know, like
Yeah,
nobody
that
wanted to
too.
believe evidence right in front of them. I love the part where I don't want to give it away, but there's a part at the end where the comet was right in front of him, and the actions that people were taking to try to stop it was priceless. Like that would really happen.
Paul says if they brought back all the original actors, yeah, I would say it's the same movie. Jeez, it's a fucking same movie. There's no
At
way
least
around
it
it.
wasn't woke.
Resurrection? No, these guys talking about Resurrections.
Yeah, the new Matrix. At least it wasn't like a woke fest, like a lot of movies have become. So give them that credit.
It wasn't that bad as far as that, but I mean, I think Trinity's the new Neo in this one. Oh, you didn't see the
Oh,
end. You didn't see the end.
no, I didn't. I
All
couldn't
right.
stay
Well,
awake.
I guess you'll find out at the end
Yeah.
that there's a little bit of that. There's some of that in there.
What about Dune though? I heard Dune was. I still haven't seen that. And I wasn't a big fan of the original Dune, to be honest with you. It was okay, but I heard the new one's a lot better.
I didn't like the first. I didn't like the first time I saw it when it first came out, and I reviewed it. I found it hard to like pay attention to, but I must have watched it like 6, 7 times so far, and it's like fucking. It's a fucking good movie. I mean, you like Star Trek. There's no way you can't like Dune.
I mean, yeah, that was Patrick Stewart's first role, I believe. That or like
Yeah,
Christmas
he was.
Carol before he did
Yeah,
Star Trek. Was he in the? He wasn't in the new Dune though, right?
nah, I wasn't in the new one.
Yeah, Zendaya was though. I mean, I'll watch anything with Zendaya.
She's in it for about 4 minutes.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really
And I
small
haven't
role.
seen the new Spider-Man that everybody says is the best Spider-Man ever. But
That is the best Spider-Man. I think well because it gets you with the whole nostalgia thing, so that's
was
why.
it as good as Into the Spider-Verse? Because I thought that was really good, especially the animation with Sony doing that.
I didn't listen. I'm not a big cartoon guy, so I didn't really care for that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the 3D kind of was like as well. This guy, hold on a second. She ain't spoiling movies always. What are you talking about?
Mm.
Listen, if you're on this channel, that means you like AV, you like movies. If you don't watch movies, first come, first serve, and I'm talking about it, and you're too cheap to watch a digital stream or pay pay to go to the movie theaters, that's on you,
Spoiler
man.
alert.
It's not on
Hey,
me.
I'm psyched for two things. I'm psyched for the Book of Boba and Cobra
Yeah.
Kai. I'm partially psyched for because I thought the last season was too much drama. I thought the first season was really good. Second season was okay. Or wait, is it the third season or fourth season? Fourth season, I think.
I think we're on the 4th right now, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't care for the third season too much. People being like thrown through windows and stuff, and then getting up like it was no big deal. I thought it was a little bit too far.
I feel like the show is kind of like a, it's like a little comedy-ish, not comedy, but a little lighthearted.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And, and I like how they turned Johnny into kind of the good guy in this one, and Daniel LaRusso wound up being a douche, which I always
I
kind of felt.
I
He
think they're
was the real
flipping
bully.
it. They might be they might be flipping it around again this season from the trailers.
I'm interested in seeing it. One thing you got to give them credit is they stayed true to canon and they honored the past. They didn't try to rewrite the past and try to put like a
Yeah.
really blatant agenda against it. And like Star Trek is unwatchable now. I can't watch Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek Picard. And that hurts to say because I'm a huge Star Trek fan, as you know, but it's garbage. It's complete, and it gets worse and worse. Like you can't imagine the next season being worse than the last one, but it just they keep lowering the bar on the word Star Trek.
Hey, if it's not in movie form, I can't watch it.
Actually, I did like the last Star Trek movie, Beyond, which
Yeah,
was directed by the guy that directed Fast and the Furious, and I thought
yeah.
that captured the spirit of Star Trek better than J.J. Abrams did in the first two. Especially the second one was terrible with the redo of Khan, which is an awful movie. But Star
Yeah,
Trek Beyond was actually, you could watch that again, and I thought that was pretty well done for new Trek.
I liked all the movies. I liked them all in 3D too. I thought they're pretty good 3D visuals. But
You still do 3D?
yeah, man, I just watched Dune 3D last week.
Oh, damn.
I must watch the movie a bazillion. I've watched it like 20 times already. This movie Dune. But shout out to OCGM for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. I got COVID twice. LOL before vaccination and after vaccine. Damn. Great show, Shane. Keep up the great work. Stay in the gym, my brothers. Talk about me, not you, Gene. Damn, this guy got COVID like 4 times. It makes you wonder, what does the vaccination actually do?
I actually think I had COVID about a month ago. I had a super bad sore throat for 3 days. I took steroids for it, prednisone, and it got better. And then it came back a week later, and I was like that for a week, and then I just got better. And they wouldn't test me. Like, I tried to get tested, but
What does it feel like? You got a cold or something? Or
I just had like the worst sore throat and ear pain, and my ear was ringing, and yeah, just it wasn't like the first time when I was like, the first time I got it, I felt like I got hit by a truck. But I got the vaccine and I got the booster and all that. So half my family has COVID now. They were supposed to come down for a vacation and stuff, and they all have it up north. It's like spiking right now.
I feel like maybe I've had it before, or maybe I'm just lazy all the time. I just
Dude,
don't
you
know
sleep
that I'm.
like 12 hours a day. That's the day in the life of Shane Boland.
I was thinking about it. I was talking with my friend Elias. I was like, yeah, why don't we just do like a daily vlog thing about what it's like to be a audio YouTube person? Then he was like, well, what do you do all day? I was like, fuck, I don't know. You show up at like 2 o'clock and we'll start for the day from there. He's like, 2 o'clock. I was like, well, yeah, sleep and then I was like, all right, that's probably a bad idea because I don't do anything.
It's gotta be nice to be you, man.
It's pretty nice to be me.
What are those boxes you got back there?
I was like, I don't seem, well, there's new shit back there. I got a bunch of PSB stuff back there. I was supposed to do that 2 weeks ago. I told the guy, what's his name? Ben?
Dude, Paradigm accidentally sent me these massive towers that were supposed to go to James Larson. They're like the 8,000 something. They're like 3 times the size of the 800Fs, but they're cheaper. So I think they're like the competition to the Clips RF 8000s.
Oh, no. Wait.
They're taking a lot of space in my garage right now. I haven't even opened them.
So I've always thought that Paradigm was kind of like higher end.
You don't like Paradigm?
I mean, I do. I've only heard like the high end stuff. I didn't know they had like super cheap stuff.
I like some of their stuff, like the 800Fs, the Premiere, are just really freaking accurate. They're super neutral. They're not like the typical Paradigm speaker of the past, like the Prestige series were kind of bright. They had a really forward treble. These Premiere 800Fs, man, they're the real deal. Like, they're just very neutral sounding. They are engaging. I couldn't believe how they sounded in my family room. I just didn't expect that much sound out of them. So they're sending, James already has the 100Fs, the Founders. He just wrapped up the measurements and the review on it, and they don't measure as linear as the 800Fs. Now, I'm not saying they don't sound as good, but if you look at the measurements on the 800Fs, man, those are like really linear speakers.
I've been trying to get a pair forever, but they're like, because of COVID, I can't get anything. At least I can't get anything. Apparently, you can.
Of course, they're going to send it to me first, Shane. I mean, come on, come on. But no, it took me about 6 months to get a receiver out of them. I've got the MRX 740 now, which I'm going to be bench testing. Yeah. So.
All right, hold on. So let's do this. Let's start off your list for. Hold on. Let me cue this up first. I don't want to fucking spoil anything. Hold on. Let me go in here. I hope I got the numbers right.
I didn't really put them in sequential order, but if you want to assign
All
good,
right.
better, best, I mean, they're all good. But
Well, there's numbers.
you
Let
only
me.
because you forced me to put numbers on them.
All right, you can just say it like it's not
You want me to do it?
necessarily.
You want me to do an intro because I'm going to take this clip and put it on
Yeah,
our
give me
channel.
some. Let me cue this up first here.
Do you have our
Okay.
bumper? You don't have our bumper, do you?
Nope. Uh, Hold on. Hide sidebar. Cue this up. Let me. I think this one's number one, but I'll start at number 10. What I think is number 10. Let me share the screen.
So we're talking about the top 10 Dolby Atmos spatial audio mixes that you can stream, whether it's on Apple Music or Tidal, or I think Amazon also has Atmos Music or spatial audio.
All right, so kicking off the list for the best Atmos music on Apple TV or in Tidal. Coming in at number 10 is, I do believe.
So by the way, when you say best, it doesn't necessarily mean the best content, but I just think that these are really good mixes. I'm a big Harry Connick Jr. fan. The guy is he's amazing. Like he's a virtuoso in every instrument he plays. He's got a great voice. He's really a funny actor. I mean, everything about the guy is just awesome. I accidentally found this song because I don't think the whole album is in Atmos. So some of the choices I put on my list are just one songs, or some of them are albums. But in this case, I don't think there's a full album. But if you're a Harry Connick fan, check this one out. It's not gimmicky. Some of the Atmos mixes that I've been listening to on Apple Music, either there's not enough center channel dialogue, so you can't really hear them singing, or they crank the bass levels up 10 dB and it's just like a bass fest. Or they throw the lyrics in the back of the room, which is very unnatural unless you
Yeah.
have someone actually panning around the room for a reason. But this is a good mix and it's a good song, and Harry Connick's got a great voice, and if you like him, listen to it in Atmos. I think you'll like it.
It had to be you.
I saw him live at Ruth Ecker, and he went for 3 hours straight. Didn't even take a drink of water. He was singing, playing piano, playing the trumpet. I couldn't believe it. The guy never took a break, man. Just unbelievable.
He's the new Frank Sinatra of our age.
Yeah, he really is.
Coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9.
So I couldn't find the whole album for Queen, but I did find another one, Bites the Dust. It's on the rock playlist for spatial audio. This is really impressive. Like it kind of boggles your mind how they took these old recordings and brought new life to them in Atmos. This one comes off really well. It's not gimmicky. It's a classic song. Obviously, I don't need to tell people how good some of the Queen's music is. But this is a good Atmos mix. The bass is good. Vocals are really strong from the center channel, Freddie Mercury, and there's a lot of spaciousness, and there's a lot of stuff going on to the sides and above you. I mean, it's fun to listen to. I know if you ever want to give a demo to people, they're gonna want to hear Queen or they're gonna want to hear the Beatles. This is definitely a track you'd want to play for them.
Is there a standout track on this album?
I don't think they have the whole album in Atmos. This is just a song. Another one, Bites the Dust.
Oh, got you. And this is on Apple or Tidal?
Everything on the list is on Apple except for the Steven Wilson one. I couldn't find it on Apple. That one's only on Tidal for some reason, even though they have the 2-channel versions.
Spoiler alert. Okay. So that's number 9.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 8 is
Porcupine Tree Heradian. Heradian? I don't know if I even say that right. It means an old woman, like that's just kind of a hag. So this is the first song from Porcupine Tree in about probably 8 or 9 years, maybe 10 years, because they broke up. Steven Wilson has his own solo stuff, so they got back together. They are releasing an album next year. They're doing a tour next year. I've got Gavin Harrison coming on our channel January 13th, one of the best drummers in our time. He's going to be on Audioholics, so stay tuned for that. He's one of my drum heroes. this track just kicks ass, man. If you're a Porcupine Tree fan, you've never heard Porcupine Tree in Atmos before, not native. Most of their recordings are in 5.1 DTS HD, and you can upmix them to Atmos or DTS or whatever upmixer you like to use. This is the first time I've ever heard Porcupine Tree in Atmos. Great track. I love the beginning of it. There's like this really awesome bass riff playing, and then all of a sudden the guitars just hit, and they hit all around you. The bass is great. Gavin Harrison, man, on drums is just, I don't know how the guy does it. He's in like 5 different bands. He's in Pineapple Thief. He's in King Crimson. He's in Porcupine Tree. He's done so much stuff, and it's a great first track for a new album. So I have high hopes that it's going to be good, but definitely check this out if you're a Porcupine Tree fan. Even if you're not a Porcupine Tree fan, if you're just a hard rocker fan and you want to hear a good Atmos mix, well done.
Coming in at number 7 is the Beatles.
So, you know, I am a huge Beatles fan. Of course, everybody's probably been overloaded with listening to the Beatles since they grew up. But David Frangione, who's a friend of our channel, has kept telling me you need to go listen to the Beatles tracks on Apple Music. They are quite remarkable, and he was right. Sgt. Pepper's is just unbelievable. I got to hear, I went to the Circus Soleil show back in 2007, and that's when they released the Love album, which was in DVD audio 5.1. So I got to hear it in 5.1 with the speakers in the seats at Circus Soleil. I got to hear it at my house and compare it, and it was unbelievable production what George Martin did, bringing these recordings back to life, extracting stuff. Nothing was new added. These are all samples that the Beatles recorded, all these different instruments that they recorded, all the different sound effects they recorded. They took the analog masters and they brought it back into these tracks because they couldn't do all this back in the day. We didn't even have quadraphonic when the Beatles were releasing their records. So they finally had the production capability to bring all of the stuff that they recorded into these tracks. And man, when you hear this in Atmos, it's like it was recorded yesterday. Like, you don't think that this stuff was recorded in the late 60s. And it's well done too. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, if you're a Beatles fan, you grew up with the Beatles, it'll bring a tear to your eye. And Sgt. Pepper's is arguably one of their best albums. So to hear that whole album in Atmos is a real treat.
Coming in at number 6 is...
There you go. Yeah, more Beatles. So they have 2 albums in Atmos, and I would say they're equally as good. It just really depends on what your favorite album is from them. Check them all out. And if you go into... they don't categorize the spatial audio very well. So if you go look up the Beatles... because you can't always find this in the spatial audio section. Go look up the Beatles, look up these albums. You should be able to find the Atmos version of them first. But if for some reason you pick up the 2-channel version, go back into the menus and look for another occurrence of that album, and you'll find the Atmos.
Coming in at number 5 is Coldplay.
Let me tell you something, man. Coldplay always, to me, when I first heard Coldplay, I always thought they were kind of a cheap knockoff of U2. And then I started digging them. You know, I saw the movie Wedding Crashers, and they had one of their songs in there, and I really started getting into their music. And then I kind of forgot about them for a while. Then they were on Howard Stern's show, and they played the new song Coloratura. And it's like a 10-minute music-gasm. I mean, it's so good. Like, it's the song that Bill and Ted should have written to unite the world for world peace.
Boy.
The music is that profound. The lyrics are that profound. And the entire album is really a masterpiece. I think it's the best work Coldplay has ever done. And you could tell that this thing was actually recorded for Atmos. So if you have a chance and you want to sit down one night, put the entire album on from start to finish. Don't skip any songs, just listen to it. It's a very fluid album. It's almost progressive rock in nature, just because it's not commercialized. I mean, some of the songs on there are just, you'll never hear them on the radio, you'll never hear them on top 10 or anything like that. But Coloratura is just a sonic treat, man. I really love that song, and the Atmos mix is tastefully done. You know, Chris Martin's voice is very easy to hear from the center channel. The bass isn't goosed up. Bass is really good, and the immersive effect is awesome.
So this album was meant for Atmos?
Definitely, yeah.
And that translates well for a 2-channel.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to the 2-channel version as well in my on my headphones or in my car or whatever. But man, it's in Atmos is like a real treat. It really, I mean, if anything, I might even put this as number one just because it's new music and it's purposely designed for Atmos.
Guess I'll have to
So
check that one out. Coming in at number 4 is Point Yellow.
I guess a lot of people may not know who Yellow is, but if you ever watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they're the ones that did that song. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So this is a really good mix, but the only thing, my only complaint about it is they have the bass levels way too high. I mean, there was I forgot what song on here on this album, but the bass was so deep it was below 20 hertz, and it was shaking. It was actually shaking my image on my screen, like my projector must have been resonating the lens or something like that. And I was like, man, that is crazy. But the bass is a little high, but the mix is awesome. I mean, there's shit happening all around you, and it's one of those albums again that are meant for Atmos.
And you've got your crossover set at what on your speakers?
Here he goes with the crossovers. I have, well, my towers are unconventional, so I have those crossed over at 150 hertz, the subwoofers on those towers. So they're playing stereo bass to 150. Everything else is crossed over at 80 hertz.
Interestingly high crossover points. Let's move on over to number 3, Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. So she's one of those, like, she's so oversaturated in the market, and I can't watch any news stories about her. But you know what? Give her credit and her brother Phineas. Phineas, I think his name is.
Ferb?
The production quality of her music and what her brother does with the mixes is like second to none, man. I mean, this entire album, it's actually a good album. I mean, considering how commercially successful she is, it's actually a really good album. She's got her first album, I think, that's in Atmos. I think all 3 of them might be in Atmos, but I really like this one. This one's a little bit more substantive than the other 2. The bass is really deep and tight. It's not really that overdone, but the mixes are awesome. It's just one of those things. If people don't understand what spatial audio is, they will if they listen to an album like this or the other 2 that I showed you before. This is definitely demo material, and it's actually enjoyable music. Most of the album's really good. And she did, someone just mentioned her Bond theme. They didn't like her James Bond theme. I thought her James Bond song was good. That's also in Atmos. Sounds really good as well. So yeah, I know there's a big audiophile following for Billie Eilish, and people buy her stuff on vinyl. But come on, man, I like vinyl too, but there's no comparison going from vinyl to this and Atmos. It's surreal.
Oof. So you feel like this was made for Atmos then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. I'll have to watch this. I've listened to it several times on stereo, but not Atmos.
It really does sound good. Yeah.
Coming in at number 2 is The Weeknd.
The Weeknd is my daughter is obsessed with The Weeknd. That's her Michael Jackson of today. You know, I mean, I wasn't even a Weeknd fan until she started playing me certain songs from him, and I'm like, you know what, he is pretty good. Like my favorite from him, I think, is Afterlife, and no, yeah, After Hours or something like that. I don't even remember the name of the song. It's one of the long songs, but the production quality on both of his albums, because I put 2 of them in here, are just unbelievable. I mean, he didn't goose the bass up like on the Post Malone Atmos tracks that I was playing. The bass is way too high on those, and you could barely hear the vocals. I didn't like the way they mixed Post Malone, plus the lyrics were coming from behind. The Weeknd used, or whoever did The Weeknd's production, used the Atmos for spatiality. So you still hear the vocals dead center. You could still hear his vocals very clearly. And it's just a really good mix. Like the production of his music is excellent.
And if you guys are unfamiliar with recommendation per Gene's daughter, she is the main host on his 2021 Best of Year video. Check that out. Very popular video.
Yep. She made her debut. Yeah, The Weeknd's just I mean, his Atmos mixes are excellent. Both of his albums. So definitely check it out if you're a fan. Don't
Which
like the
brings
song.
us to number one. Whoops. Which brings us to number one.
There we go.
Also,
Yeah,
The Weeknd.
that's his. I think that's his most popular album. Yeah, that's a killer one. I mean, it's very playable. There's a lot of good songs on there. Um, I was shocked because I just expected, because it's pop, that it was going to be over compressed and it wasn't going to sound good, and I was wrong. I mean, like, these albums are just incredibly well done for Atmos.
Do you know how much flack I get for listening to pop music and stuff like this when I do a two-channel review? Because it's not some esoteric band. They're like, you can't listen to pop music because it's no good.
I mean, there are some great pop recordings. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson's Thriller is one of the best pop recordings of all time. I mean, that's Quincy Jones, I think, produced that album, and that's from like 84 or 83. That still holds up as being a really well recorded album. Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, Nightfly, those are all pop albums. A little jazz to them, but they're well produced. Billie Eilish, again, her stuff it sounds really good, and it's pop. So I like all sorts of music, man. I listen to jazz. I listen to, Pat Metheny. I listen to hard rock. I'll even throw in some Metallica here or there. But Metallica sounds horrible. It's just not produced well. My favorite band is Genesis, and their stuff sounds pretty bad especially on CD. Some of their stuff in 5.1 is okay. It's just really bright. So a lot of the recordings from the 70s and 80s just, you know, they don't translate well digitally. That's why I still spin records, man. I've got some vinyl behind me right here.
It's almost kind of like when you watch old movies that have been transferred over to 4K.
Mm,
Maybe like Ghostbusters that was like recorded in stereo. They try to
yeah,
put an Atmos mix on it. It sounds dated, and they
yeah,
try to like spread the effects around to make it more spacious, more discreet, but it just doesn't work because the effects sound like they were recorded back in '84.
what happens on the Atmos music, and I'm not trying to paint rosy pictures about how great spatial audio always is. There's a lot of bad recordings. I mean, I listen
Mm.
to one of my favorite bands is Rush. Put on Subdivisions, or no, Tom Sawyer. I put on Tom Sawyer. It sounded horrible in Atmos. They just did not do a good job. But it's probably not their fault either, because Rush is another band that just didn't have high quality in their production, in the recordings, and it just does not translate well to Atmos.
And let's go over to your honorable mention. Oops.
Nope.
Let's go over to your honorable mention. Okay, hold on. I guess I didn't include that one when I touched the screen. I'll have to edit that part out. Hold on a second here. Close that. Honorable mention. There we go.
Use
And
your
let's go
picture.
on. Let's go on to your honorable mention.
Steven Wilson. Yeah, he's the front man for Porcupine Tree. He's been doing a lot of solo work. Here's the weird thing about this album. This is his pop album, and he got a lot of flack for it because he was traditionally a progressive rock guy. This album is very poppy. He even has Elton John on one of his songs on I forget the name of the song now. Personal Shopper. Is Elton John in the background is the one that's calling out all the different items he's singing about. So sounds great in Atmos. The only problem is if you go on Apple Music, you can't find it in Atmos. You have to go to Tidal, and Tidal still doesn't have their levels worked out right. So if you're listening to Atmos on Apple Music and you switch over to Tidal, you got to crank it up another 10 dB to get it at the same level. And if you forget that you cranked it up and you go back, or especially if you listen to two channels, they're going to get blown out of the water. But Future Bites, it's not his best work, but it is really a pleasure to listen to in Atmos. And it's the first album that Steven Wilson has ever done in Atmos. In fact, I had him on our channel a couple of years ago, and we were talking about Atmos. He didn't even know what Atmos was. And he was like skeptical that anybody would ever have more than 5 speakers in their house with a subwoofer. Well, here we are years later, and now he's mixing music in Atmos, and now Apple Music has kind of taken over, and the Gen Zers are embracing spatial audio. There's an article on our homepage right now that Dolby did a whole survey, and it's promising. I mean, people really are getting this spatial audio stuff, whether it's for headphones or if it's in a home environment and you have at least 2 height speakers, you can enjoy the spatial audio.
Can we say shout out to your top 3 picks that were recorded within the past 5 years, and that weren't the Eagles?
I listened to one of the Eagles ones in Atmos. I didn't think it sounded good. I forgot which one it was, and Tom Petty as well. There was like 2 tracks I listened to that just did not sound good in Atmos.
Man, Devin says, great to hear another Rush fan from Audioholics.
Oh yeah. Okay,
while I transition to queue up these next top 10 movie Atmos mixes here, and I'm going to take myself off the camera really quick. But a question for you, Gene. This came in as an external chat. Gentleman would like to know, he asked, since there are many people using exhaust fans on audio racks, should you use an exhaust fan on his audio rack when he builds his basement home theater? Should he add fans?
Yes, it's a good idea, especially if you've got I'm having a problem in my closet here because I have an HDMI matrix and I've got distribution amps and HD base T transceivers, and it heats up and they start malfunctioning. The only problem is if you put an exhaust fan on your rack, you have to have a way to get that air forced out of that area. So if you don't have that, then you really need an exhaust fan in the ceiling that sucks that air away from the closet. That's what I'm going to be doing in the next week or 2. So I'm going to be cutting a hole in my ceiling, getting an exhaust fan to suck that hot air out, because if I just put a fan in the rack and it stays in that closed space, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to move hot air around. Okay, where are you, Shane? Shane disappeared, so I guess I'm taking over his channel now. And I can't feature any of these comments. John Smith says, yes, I thought I killed my speakers after going from Tidal Atmos to stereo. It was so loud. Yeah, that's a real problem. Tidal's worse than Apple Music in that. I think Apple's gotten better. But Tidal, I think it was like a 20 dB difference from Atmos to 2-channel. And the problem is if you go on their playlists, it'll randomize, it'll play Atmos music with 2-channel. So it'll put one track will be Atmos and the next track will be 2-channel. It'll blow you out of your seat. So yeah, be careful with that. Vincent says, I ran 420 millimeter fans on my Denon AVR A110 inside the rack, and it's always cool to the touch. So that's cool. So you must have airflow that goes out into the room or something to dissipate that heat. That's great. That does work. But if it's in an enclosed closet and there's no way to dissipate that heat, it's not going to really do much. Where'd you go, man?
To queue up my slides. He's in the bathroom, so I had to cue him up from the bathroom.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let me record a second. Let me put my portion in 4K. Okay, here we go. I don't have a script, so I'm going to have to wing this one. All right, what's up, guys? So now is the time of the year, the end of 2021. If you missed the video, I did my top 10 best 4K Blu-ray list for the year. I'll leave a link for that in the video, in link up in the corner or down below in the video's description. But now we're going to talk about the best top 10 audio mixes on 4K Blu-ray this year, which could also pertain to either digital streams or the Kaleidoscape as well. Your best options are going to be either 4K Blu-ray or on the Kaleidoscape, because those formats are lossless. But if you're just streaming, you want to keep your collection minimal, listen, it's going to work for streaming as well. So kicking off my list, for the best audio mixes on 4K this year for 2021. Keep in mind, we're not going to take into consideration how good or bad the movie is. It could be an absolute bomb at the box office, but that doesn't mean it cannot sound fantastic. So kicking off the list at number 10 is Monster Hunter on 4K. This mix is basically a static mix. So it's not a dynamically active mix, so you're not going to get a bunch of objects that are circulating throughout all your channels. But it's one of the most bass-heavy, aggressive mixes that you're going to listen to this year if you picked it up on 4K Blu-ray or on digital. Some of the big standout scenes, Gene, I don't know if you saw it or not, but
no, I haven't.
When Diablos, which is the big monster in the background here in the thumbnail, when he's coming out of the ground, we're talking about some infrasonic bass response. So this is gonna, if you got some puny little subwoofers, you're gonna be missing on a whole lot.
So you're getting that bass with your little rels?
I got more than little rels in there. but this mix is so aggressive in the bass response. Not the most subtlest of mixes on this list, but if you're just looking for some pure action, this is number 10. I think I gave like a 9.0 for audio this year. Dolby Atmos mix, killer disc. I'm going to leave links down below in the video's description for this if you're interested in picking this up, or anything on the list as well. So that is at number 10. Gene, you missed that one, right?
I did, yes.
Next up, coming in at number 9 is Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. This one is not officially out on 4K Blu-ray yet, but you can get it on digital, or you can get it on the Kaleidoscape, or if you're fortunate enough to get it on Blu-ray early, if you're a reviewer, you can also get it on 4K Blu-ray early as well. But this one here, very different sounding than the original Resident Evil movies. I'm sure, Gene, you've seen some of the original ones with Mila Jovovich.
I actually haven't, no.
There's only like 13 of them, and you haven't seen any of those.
I have not seen a single Resident Evil. I think there's a game, though, right?
It is based on the game. Yeah. And this particular movie is, I'm going to say it's the closest to the games that you're going to get, especially when you're comparing them to the original, like 13 movies. So this is very close to that. But
can you watch this one without ever seeing another Resident Evil movie, or no?
Yeah, this is like a reboot. This is like a fresh new start. Yeah, this is like game 1 of the video game in movie form. But this one has a dynamic mix, so it'll scale to as many speakers as you have. So if you've got wide speakers or center back speaker, or more than 4 height speakers, all the objects will float around all of those speakers dynamically. So this is a legit Atmos mix. It's got some heavy bass during certain parts when the helicopter is crashing through the building, through the mansion. There's obviously, I don't know if you play the video game or not, but there's a lot of rain effects, a lot of outdoor rain effects. So there's rain coming through the above speakers, a lot of little zombies coming through the back speakers. Very atmospheric mix. If you're prone to jump scares, there's a couple of jump scares in here as well. And I feel like horror movies and Atmos mixes, when done right, sound fantastic. And this is number 9 for Atmos immersiveness. Killer mix. Like I said, we're not basing this on how good or bad the movie is, but as far as audio, it's a standout mix. Coming in at number 8 is No Time to Die, James Bond. Speaking of Billie Eilish earlier, if you're a fan of audio, that Billie Eilish mix in Dolby Atmos on this movie stand out as well as any other audio in this movie stand out as well. There's a lot of good extension overhead in the Atmos channels. This is mostly, I'm going to say this is mostly like a mixture between static and dynamic, mostly static, where it functions more like a 7-channel mix rather than circulating through all your speakers. But if you do have more than 7 channels, in certain parts it will circulate through all your speakers. I think
Is it static when it's in the IMAX mode, like the aspect ratio? Is it changed from static to dynamic, or is it just random on that?
it's kind of random. No, it's not random. I think during the IMAX at the beginning there is an explosion at the cemetery where you hear some debris and smoke and stuff, which kind of circulate throughout all the speakers clockwise, and that's during the Atmos part during the beginning. And I think there's another part where did you watch the movie?
I haven't seen this one either. Gotta catch up.
Gene, taking your
Too
movie.
busy working, man.
Gene, taking your home theater card away. You there's a part in Cuba where he's hanging out with Ana de Armas, where they're talking on some walkie-talkies, and it sounds like the walkie's in your head, so they put it, above in the height channels. It sounds pretty cool, so it gives you that in your head effect. That's dynamically mixed as well. I think there's some music parts as well that sound pretty good towards.
Are you a Bond fan?
Yeah, I love Bond.
So, what do you think Daniel Craig's best Bond is? Is it still Casino Royale, or is this close to it?
Yeah, still Casino Royale because he's just like a badass in that one. He's like a brawler in that one. I know a lot of people didn't like this one just because he died. If you didn't see the movie, he died. Yeah. So I think that's why they put it in the time. Oh shit! You did. Oh my bad. You didn't see the movie.
I knew he died.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he dies. It says no time to die, but apparently he does die. I thought it was a great movie. I really liked it.
Okay.
I didn't think it was it wasn't like emotional for me, but I thought it was great though. But that is number 8, No Time to Die. Check it out. Good bass response. I think the bass could have been a little bit better on this movie, but for what it is, standout mix. That's number 8.
Bloodsport. It's true.
And number 7, The Suicide Squad.
God, the first one was so bad. How could you sit through that? Sorry.
This one is totally different, though. This is a little bit more action-packed. Made a little bit more sense. Kind of like some good humor in this one that I felt worked. But this one, again, very much like Bond, kind of a static/dynamic mix. There's only maybe like a handful of parts that were dynamic. There's the part with the rats surrounding King Shark, which if you listen to it, there's rats coming from overhead, down from the trees, also down in the lower channels. As far as like bass response, when Starro is breaking out in the 3rd act, infrasonic bass there. If you got some little puny subs, you don't have them crossed over like 150 hertz like Gene does, you're gonna like rumble the foundation of your house in that scene. Killer bass, and the music soundtrack as well rocks also. So check that out. That's number 7. You can watch it on, I don't know if it's still on HBO Max or not, but buy this movie. If you liked the first one, you'll definitely love this one. If you hated the first one, you'll probably like this one.
Is Will Smith in this one too?
Will Smith is not in this one. It's Idris Elba.
Okay, so that should be an improvement.
Shots to Will Smith.
I liked him in Men in Black.
Yeah, he was good in that one. Coming in at number 6, Free Guy. Did you see this one, Gene?
Don't even know of its existence. No, man.
So
you just have too much free time on your hands.
Free Guy is a great mix. Visually, I don't want to talk about visually, but visually this was darker than the regular Blu-ray. So I mean, I think that's one of the main things on this movie. People found the regular Blu-ray better looking than this one just because the regular Blu-ray was so bright. The 4K was so dim. But we're not talking about the video quality. We're talking about the audio quality. I thought this was a standout mix, especially during the beginning portion where you got planes flying overhead, you got missiles and bombs and guns and cars. I mean, you got everything going on during a car chase. Everything's flying at you in all directions. This happens during the entire course of the movie. I do feel that bass response could have used a little bit of work, but overall, standout mix, great Atmos mix, a fun movie as well, especially if you're a video gamer. There's a lot of like shit that video gamers do that I think is a nice little addition to this movie. And Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. He's always Ryan Reynolds in all of his movies. So you like him, you hate him, but it's Ryan Reynolds.
Is it like a Ready Player One kind of movie?
There's certain aspects of it that is very much like Ready Player One.
That was actually a really good mix. I don't know if you have that on your list or not.
These are mixes for 2021, not
Right.
2012. And moving on to number 5, we've got Chaos Walking. Gene, did you see this one?
Don't even know what that is.
So, this movie stars Tom Holland and Rey from the Star Wars trilogy, the latest Star Wars trilogy. I personally, I read a lot of reviews. People hated this movie. I personally kind of enjoyed the movie for what it was. Was it the best movie that came out during this year? No, it was not. But I found it interesting enough where I would probably watch a sequel on it.
Yeah, I got a 21% Rotten Tomatoes.
Just because it got bombed on Rotten Tomatoes. Listen, we're not rating these audio mixes on what it scores on Rotten Tomatoes. But if we have a website, Rotten Audio, this would be certified fresh. One of the best Atmos mixes I've heard this year, dynamic mix. Hold on, Free Guy was also dynamic as well. This one is also dynamic as well. So if you have more than 11 speakers, you have 32 speakers or 48 speakers, this one will scale properly to all those channels. Best parts are when Tom Holland is thinking and you can see his little thoughts floating above his head, and you can also hear them above your head. They kind of circulate all around the speakers, all around the height speakers, around the lower speakers. Bass response, I think the biggest bass in the movie was towards the beginning when the ship was crashing to the planet. Other than that, not much as far as bass as I recall. I didn't take really notes to write down, but I think the biggest bass moment was towards the beginning. But this is more of an atmospheric mix, very much as like you would hear in a Quiet Place type of movie, where it's like ambiance and all that stuff. So it would surround you, would place you outside in the wilderness, which I find good Atmos mixes that can kind of take your room out of the AV equation, kind of throw you in, and just like atmospheric mixes are best. They sound engaging, like this movie, and also like horror movies if they're mixed well. So I find that this number 5, pick it up. I'm not telling you it's a great movie to watch. I enjoyed it myself. There's some movie elitists out there that are just like, I read reviews and I don't watch them. But I find that this is an okay movie to watch.
So are you renting these on your Kaleidoscape?
$10 this month for Chaos Walking if you're a member of Kaleidoscape. I think it's pretty cheap on Vudu as well.
How many times can you watch it on Kaleidoscape?
This movie, how many times? You buy it. Once you buy it, it's kind of like,
so it's yours once you pay the $10.
Sure,
oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, so you don't lose it. I mean, it's you're downloading it at full bit rate, so it's basically the same size, and a lot of the times larger than a 4K Blu-ray would be.
Yeah.
So that is number 5, Chaos Walking. I think most of you guys, if you saw my 4K Blu-ray list for best movies, a lot of these titles are kind of the same. I think there's a few that are new. But coming in at number 4 is Godzilla vs. Kong. Gene, I know you saw this one.
I did see this one.
Yes.
Terrible movie, but it was fun until they went into the center of the earth and there was another sun. I was like, somebody did a lot of drugs when they made this movie. But anyway.
I felt the same way. I felt this was much more cartoonier than the first 2 entries in the series trilogy. But we're not talking about how good or bad the movie is.
Hey, clearly, I like Kong with Jack Black. I thought that was really well done.
I did like that one as well. More realistic than this one. This is just
exactly.
this is just like, they're just swinging for the fences. But listen, video quality wise, killer. If you got a 4K HDR display, big projector, the colors are amazing. But audio, equally as amazing. If you got some killer subwoofers, like Jane, myself, bigger, like what are those 3-letter subwoofers that are going around popular nowadays?
Oh, JTR.
Yeah. So those kind of subs would benefit from a movie like this. If you just want pure action and mayhem, I mean, what more can you say? When they're fighting out on the aircraft carrier, pure mayhem. There's planes flying overhead. I think they're in Tokyo, when they're smashing up buildings in Tokyo or Seattle or wherever they are. stuff flying everywhere. So if you want to be surrounded, you just like loud stuff, you like sound in every one of your speakers all the time. If you want to feel like you're in an oral mix, this movie is going to do it for you.
Well, you get separation of layers on this, though. With Oro, it's just constant sound all the time.
Number 4, Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, I think the first two movies actually sound a little bit better than this one. I think they're a little bit more detailed than this one. This is just massive loudness and mayhem. Whereas like Kong Skull Island, did you see that one?
Yes.
Skull Island and King of the Monsters.
I grew up on Japanese Godzilla movies. My brothers all were crazy about that when I was a kid, and it was a parody or whatever, but
yeah,
I know all of the old ones when he fought Megatron and all that. They've come a long way since then, but I kind of miss those.
Yeah, a little cheesy with the rubber suits and all that. Yeah,
I even saw the one with Matthew Broderick, the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I like that one. I didn't like Godzilla too much. He was more like a lizard than Godzilla. But this is number 4. If you guys want 2 better mixes than this one, I would say go and pick up Kong Skull Island. The bass when the helicopter blades are spinning around towards the beginning, killer. And then King of the Monsters towards the full third act is like crazy. So that's number 4 for 2021. Let's move on to number 2. This one some people might not be happy about, but I thought it was pretty freaking amazing. Oh, my bad. This is number 3. I thought it was going number 2.
Yeah.
This is number 3. This is A Quiet Place Part 2. This picks up exactly where the first one left off. Pure ambiance. I mean, there's some good action parts towards the third act, and spread out during the course of the movie as well. But basically, a lot of good ambiance, outdoor stuff. I like to use this movie when I'm reviewing speakers and processors and receivers, because I like to hear how clean noise floor is in certain movies. And this is one of those movies where you want to hear some good detail. And this is, I like to hear little crickets and stuff like that buzzing around in your rear speakers. If you got some gigundous speakers, or what are the 3-digit ones with the compression drivers and stuff like that, that might not be able to give you full cal detail. Okay. I would throw this kind of movie on. I would throw this movie on. So if you want to, get some nice audiophile quality movies.
I haven't seen this one yet. I liked the first Quiet Place up until the end when the aliens were surfing in to Earth on asteroids. I thought that was ridiculous, but it was a good movie.
In this movie?
No, the first one. No, I said the end of the first one just pissed me off, but I still liked it. But I haven't seen this one. The only reason why I didn't really rush to see this one is because the best character of the movie wasn't going to be in it. So I was like,
okay, no spoilers there. I guess you're gonna have to watch it now.
Everybody, this movie's like 2 years old now, right?
This movie came out this year. This is the 2021 list, Gene.
It feels like it's been out for 2 years. I don't know.
You think I have an easy life staying at home? You don't even know what year we're in.
I don't know what year we're in anymore.
But this is number 3. Listen, if you have some capable speakers. When I say capable speakers, that doesn't mean you can play loud bass. That means your speakers can play delicate enough where it's going to pick up some good nuances in soundtracks like this. And I think very important if your speakers can do that. This is a good test for your speakers. That's number 3, Quiet Place Part 2. Also pick up Quiet Place Part 1 if you like A Quiet Place Part 2. You can't go wrong with that. And this one, number 2. This is the one I think people might hate, but I love it. I love this movie. I love the mix on it. The Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime.
I saw that one.
Yeah. I love this movie, dude.
The movie started out it was okay. It got really stupid in the middle, and then it redeemed itself at the end. So I would watch it again. Yeah.
Great little action movie. I would put this kind of like Edge of Tomorrow type of thing.
So did you stream this? Because you can't get this on disc.
Right? Yeah, it's only streaming.
Amazon exclusive, right?
Yeah, Amazon exclusive, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Does Amazon have the best stream quality? No, it doesn't. But that doesn't negate the fact that this Atmos mix, very dynamic, just like A Quiet Place Part 2, dynamic mix. If you have more than 11 speakers, if you've got 32, 48 speakers, you got a Trinov or a Storm, you got 48 speakers, this is going to dynamically travel through all of your speakers. And the bass response in this, killer bass response. Little enough details that I could hear for an Amazon stream mix. I can only imagine what it would sound like on Kaleidoscape or on physical media. This mix rocks. One of my favorite mixes I've heard this year. I'll throw up a little, a little screenshot of what's going on in the mix. I mean, you can't beat it. This is like, this is what oral fans cream about. Some kind of immersiveness. This is it right here.
You mean all 6 of them?
This is it. To the Tomorrow War. If you bought anything online within the past 5 years, you probably bought it on Amazon Prime. If you didn't know that Amazon Prime offers a video service, a movie service, download the Amazon Prime Video app, and you guys can watch this movie on your Apple TV, on your Roku, your Fire Sticks. Obviously, your Fire Sticks is Amazon. Check it out. The Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt's in it. I think he's pretty popular. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's number 2. Check it out. Killer mix. Check out the reviews. Well, I'm going to leave reviews for all of these movies I'm talking about in the upper corner. Also down below in the video's description, as well as purchases if you want to purchase any of these movies, if it's available on disc. And then number 1 for 2021. This might be it didn't really technically come out in 2021, but you could rent it and buy it on digital in 2021. It is Dune. Dune is my number 1 pick for 2021, the best Atmos mix. I feel that this movie has the best combination of awesome musical score, awesome detail in that musical score. Also detail if you're listening to it on Buzz or Tidal. Awesome detail and spaciousness in Atmos, either on the Kaleidoscape or on physical media. Good mixture of detail, quietness, spaciousness. Also rambunctious audio mix as well when things are blowing up, when the action kicks in. When they're flying the ornithopters, I believe that's what they're called, the ornithopters, through the little sandstorm. When the worms are coming out. The attack on Arrakis. When they're blowing up those gigundous ships. This has got like everything. This is what Blade Runner 2049 was in 2019. But this is for 2021.
Do you have the disc or do you have it on your Kaleidoscape?
I got the digital disc and the Kaleidoscape and the 3D disc as well.
Oh, so you got to bring it over my place when we do the cable test.
Well, I don't know if this would work on cable test. Okay, I could do that. Sure. But this is number 1. It doesn't officially come out till 2021. But I mean, if you can buy it now on digital or on the Kaleidoscape, there's no more realer than the Kaleidoscape. That's, I would say that's kind of would fit into 2021. But that's the number 1 mix. Awesome mix. That's my list. I don't have any honorable mentions, but that actually, I would say honorable mention, maybe Candyman. Did you see Candyman?
I saw the original Candyman like in the 90s. Is it
Well,
the same guy?
Nah, well, no spoilers here.
He was in Star Trek. He was a Klingon in
Oh, was it?
Deep Space Nine and Next Generation, yeah.
Well, I would say maybe honorable mention. Candyman was pretty good. You know, if you like the horror movies, another subtle kind of mix. And then maybe the last night? The Green Knight. My bad. The Green Knight. Another 2 very subtle mixes. Not much action in that one. If you can stay awake during the entire thing, the Green Knight also sounded pretty good as well. But that's it. That's the top 10 best Atmos mixes for 2021. Number 1 is Dune. I'll leave some links down below in the video's description if you guys do want to pick that up. But those are my thoughts on the list. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Leave your top 10 list down below in the video's description. Let me know. And like, share, subscribe. If you want, you can follow us on social media. If you want to support the channel even more, you can follow us on Patreon as well. You can get exclusive discounts, special content. Of course, be subscribed. We'll see you again in the next video. Okay.
Happy New Year.
That's it right there. The entire list. I will, of course, chop your part out. You can have that part. Ooh, let me hit stop on that so I get a nice 4K version of that. What else? What an interesting,
Yeah, I
interesting
need to catch
questions
up
here.
on movies, man.
So, this is the dilemma I have when I stream with other people. This is the dilemma I have when I stream with home theater people. Now we're in the, what time is it right now? All right, it's 12:30 now. This is probably when I stream with home theater people. I feel like home theater people are all about the audio gear. But when I'm like, what the fuck do you guys watch on your home theaters that you don't even know? When I say, did you watch Dune last night and for free?
Sadly, I know. I haven't had a lot of time to watch movies. When most of the stuff we watch on TV is usually streaming like a show. Like I'm starting to watch a lot of American Dad because it's just a quick fix of comedy. You know, I
Did
could
you
watch.
watch Groundhog Day back in 1982?
Oh yeah, Bill Murray.
I missed that one. I'm like, what? God damn, your home theater guy, you didn't see Groundhog Day?
I need to do some catch up for sure.
There's like,
I get into streaming shows too. Like I Lost in Space kind of got sucky. I got sucked into that, and I finished watching that. And what else am I watching now? That's new. Oh, I just watched Better Call Saul, like all the seasons of those. So,
you watched all of them today?
No.
Through the week?
Over like a couple of months.
I didn't finish. I think I got a couple. I think I have like 2 seasons left to watch.
You can't get the last season though because it's
on Netflix, right? Yeah.
It's on Netflix, but they won't release the last season since the new season hasn't come out yet. So you can only see the first 4 seasons, or the first. Yeah, there's one season missing that's already been done, and I can't watch it. I'm kind of pissed at that. There's a lot of sucky sci-fi shows on Apple TV. Like, don't get sucked into them. I tried watching this one called Foundation. It was so bad.
I got to episode 2. I was like, fuck. I was like, when are they gonna pick this shit up? Because it was just like I started falling asleep.
Visually, it was good. Sound-wise, it was good. Someone just mentioned Foundation. Do they hear us?
Who? What?
So as soon as when I said Foundation, somebody put a comment in there. Foundation on Apple TV was great audio. I guess it's a coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it and I looked at the mix too, and I was like, oh wow, this is like a legit mix. I tried to watch it, and I was like, fuck, this is boring as hell. Like, I went to chapter 2, kind of boring, and there was another show, Invasion. I got to like 4 episodes. I was like, when is this thing gonna? Where's the aliens at?
War of the Worlds was the biggest shit fest I've ever seen. It was robot dogs. The aliens were us. I'm like, really?
Oh, you know what's good is the sitter, not the baby, the servant, Apple TV.
What's that?
I think it's from M. Night Shyamalan. It's such a good fucking show.
It's on Apple TV.
It's a little creepy, yeah. It's like they hire this babysitter. No. It's like this couple. One's a like Instagram chef. One is like a news reporter. They have this kid. The wife. I don't feel like I'm going to spoil it, but they hire this nanny, and it's I don't want to spoil it. It's a little creepy.
I like that.
It's a creepy show.
That kind of shit.
Yeah, dude, it was a fucking good show. Good show. I love the show. This is the only good show I think is on Apple TV. Servant.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good stuff on Apple TV, but I use the Apple TV now because it does everything in Atmos, whereas fucking Roku won't serve Netflix in Atmos, and it won't do Apple Music in Atmos, and it won't do Tidal in Atmos. This Roku died on me. This thing was malfunctioning.
So, the Ultra?
Yeah, I'm throwing it in the garbage. It overheated. Can't handle the heat in my closet.
They built those things so cheap too.
Oh, this one has no heat. This one has no heat dissipation. The Apple TV is actually built a lot better than this thing, but it's half the price of an Apple TV, so I guess that's why.
Yeah, I bought it because I didn't think. I went to go watch. I forget what the fuck it was. I think it was Tomorrow War. I was like, fuck,
we're still live, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's why people were talking about Foundation, because I mentioned it. I thought we were done.
No, we're still live. I did the wrap up so I can cut it out, so make it sound like an official video.
Oh shit! I thought we were not live.
It's good that you weren't talking shit.
Yeah, Foundation is garbage. I'm sorry, man.
Good thing you weren't talking
World
shit about
Opening.
Oro again.
Oh, well, there's not much to talk about. I mean, geez, just an up mixer. So I woke up
Ted
this
Lasso's
morning.
pretty good too. Ted Lasso's pretty
What?
good. Ted Lasso's pretty good.
Oh, I haven't seen that
Yeah,
either.
it's kind of funny show. Yeah. What else we got? Mosquito Coast. Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. Spirit Change. Thoughts on Cobra Kai. Boba Fett. That was earlier in the stream. We talked about that earlier in the stream.
I wish
Servant
they
is
would just have
great.
another season of Mandalorian right now. It's like, damn, now we gotta. I want to see Bubba. I think that's gonna be good, but I really want to see what
Nah,
happens with.
first episode sucked.
Oh, you saw it already?
Yeah, it came out today.
I thought it comes out on the 31st.
Nah, today. Came out today.
So was it? It just wasn't good at first. It was a slow episode.
Hey, it was just a slow episode. I mean, it's just like it felt like a filler episode.
You know, they did that a lot in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
A lot of the Mandalorian were filler episodes in between.
I think the main thing I think they put in this episode was how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. After that was just like
Which
whatever.
you know is BS, man. He
Yeah.
was digested by that freaking thing, and
I mean, they
don't mind.
show him in there how he gets out.
Oh, okay.
Then after that was just like I was like, what's the point of the rest of the show? I was like, this is
Now he's the actor from Clone Wars, right? The movie Clone Wars. He's the same,
yeah, he's the same guy. Well, he
yeah,
played Jango Fett.
right. But he's not the
Yeah.
guy from the original Return of the Jedi. That's a totally different guy. I would
No,
think.
that dude's dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
he died a couple years ago. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be all right though. I mean, I don't know how many episodes you're gonna have. I'm sure it'll pick up. There's gonna be some shitty episodes, some good episodes.
Anything's got to be better than the last 3 Star Wars movies. So, I mean, the bar is set pretty low with the Last Jedi or whatever the hell that one was, where
Man, I like the
Palpatine was
last.
a zombie. It was just stupid.
I enjoyed the Last Jedi. I enjoyed. I the only one I didn't like was the middle one. Was the second one.
They all sucked. I mean, the first Force Awakens was just a rehash of A New Hope because J.J. Abrams doesn't have an original idea in his mind. I mean, he rehashes everybody else's stuff. That's all he ever does.
That's
No
what.
creativity.
That's what Matrix Resurrections was.
Mm.
The same shit, same beats and all that.
Yeah, I couldn't stay awake for that, but
Yeah.
the
I mean,
sound was good. I remember like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, damn, this is good Atmos. I want to
oh,
really get into this. The next thing I know, woke up, it's an hour later, and I didn't see the rest of the movie.
hold on a second here. Another question for Gene that I wrote down. Okay. If you're building a home theater, what is the best kind of cables engaged to get?
Well, I would not give the Audio Quest answer. That's Shane's avenue there, but depends. Are you putting the cable behind drywall? If you're putting it behind drywall, you want to use CL2 rated cable, obviously, for safety. And I like using either 14.4 or 12.2, or if you're really an audioholic and you want to get the least amount of loss, go 10 gauge. It's just harder to terminate. But I use 10 gauge in my theater room just because I had long runs from my rack to my front speakers. And
10 gauge. I use
yeah.
10 gauge.
Yeah, I mean 10 gauge is 10 gauge to me is the gold standard in speaker cable. If you can't make an exotic cable measure as good as 10 gauge, then you shouldn't be publishing or you shouldn't be selling that product. There's plenty of high-end cables that measure as good or a little bit better. Not a lot better, but yeah, I would use at least 12.2 for your runs, at least for your bed channels. And if you want to use 14 gauge for your Atmos channels, that's fine. I run Ethernet everywhere because it's hard sometimes to run long runs of HDMI, so you could run a Balum and use HD base T, Cat 6 preferably. Balanced connections for your subwoofers if you can. Unbalanced is fine too. If you could use unbalanced, I like using RG6, which is a double braided, double foil shielded connector, and it's 18 gauge, so it's really good. It's used up to 3 gigahertz. It'll work for anything in audio. So yeah, that's about all I recommend there. And then I get away from terminating at the wall on speaker cables. Just a nightmare when they get loose, those connectors. So you're better off running a bull nose and running the cables down the wall, make them long enough, and then terminate at your speaker. And then on the other end where your rack is, don't run a panel with connectors. Do the cables, run them naked, and then terminate them at the rack. That's really the best way to ensure good signal integrity.
10 gauge. You talked about rack heat exhaust. Apparently, he asked, there was a video that said this dude's got a pretty kick-ass home theater where he says it sounds better without room correction rather than using room correction.
I am probably, it's not a very popular opinion, but in 9 times out of 10, I tell people to turn the room correction off, or at least limit it to a couple hundred hertz. And I have a case in point. I have DRAC Live on my Storm audio processor. I haven't set it up yet, but the guys at RBH has the same processor as me. They do the same kind of calibration techniques that I do when I set up a system, which takes me days. And Shane, the guy that designed the speakers, is like, I spent like a week using DRAC, and every time I switched between DRAC versus the manual, I prefer the manual. So I know there's a lot of people that love room correction, but I think there's a lot of disadvantages to it. You can't just blindly follow what it's going to do, especially if it does full range. We have a series of videos why that is you can watch on our channel. But at the end of the day, if you like it, great. Try it on 2-channel. Listen to the room correction on and off on 2-channel, because it's easier for you to discern differences with just 2 speakers playing. It's very hard to compare when you have speakers all around you playing. Your brain gets kind of overwhelmed.
It's like impossible.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, and if you want to really hear a frequency response problem with a speaker, you do listen to it in mono, and then you could really tune in on where that problem is in the speaker. And that's the guys at Harman. That's all their listening tests are usually done in mono when they're doing critical. But yeah, I mean, I mostly don't use room correction, or I use it for below 500 hertz.
Gotcha. I find it different. Like when I was listening to certain AVRs. No disrespect to like Odyssey or anything like that, but I feel every time I turn like Odyssey on, that it sounds better with it off for sure. There's no doubt about that. When I listen to certain AVRs with Dirac, I think sometimes like hit and miss. If you do the whole auto correction, or even with the trend off, sometimes I got to take a few measurements with the trend off. Even sometimes, if I'm on the trend off with different speakers and I run the correction, sometimes it'll sound better with it off. But then if I redo it again and I change my curves here and there, sometimes it'll be more spacious sounding, but then maybe the bass is missing somewhere. Then I have to go realign the subs to do like the multi-sub optimizer, like manually. I have to do it myself. I feel like sometimes that misses, but that's like any room correction. I feel like misses there. So I feel like the Trinov, I feel like it gets it right most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to go and like correct the bass to where it sounds right to me, and then I use room EQ or whatever. But I think most AVRs, if I'm using it from like an Odyssey AVR, I find like it misses like almost all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the Odyssey has that new X PC interface, so I haven't tested it yet. I've had it for like 6 months. I just haven't had a chance to look at it. But
what is that? Just changes. Allows you to change curves, and
you could change curves. You could set house curves. You do it all from your PC, and supposedly you could do manual EQing on it without even running Odyssey, which I want to do on my subs, because my receiver, I have a SR8015. It's here, but it's powering a system downstairs, so I can't run a microphone cable from here to downstairs. So if I can go in and just fix the subwoofer response manually, because I can measure it with REW, that'll be great, and it's worth the $200 at that point to have that tool to fix your bass.
That's so that's $200, but that allows you to manually EQ subs individually on Odyssey.
Supposedly, yeah. Supposedly you can go in, you can enter PEQ filters, even though they're FIR based. They look like PEQ on their screen. And you could go and enter, I think it's like 7 bands per channel or something like that.
So it doesn't change the way Odyssey does stuff automatically.
It's you could run it without running Odyssey, from what I understand. But if you run Odyssey, it'll keep whatever is on that curve, and then you can just tailor it to how you want it.
So it's more of a hands-on type of thing, more of a
Yeah.
DIY kind of thing.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you have to.
D-Rec is the same thing. D-Rec has all that flexibility. It's pretty sophisticated what you can do on that. And everybody has different tastes too, because if you want to set a house curve, if you look at the Harman curve, it's supposed to be 1 dB per octave below 500 hertz elevated, and then 1 dB per octave tapered off above 500 hertz to the high frequencies. I always find that that's not enough bass for my taste. I tend to calibrate my system 4 or 5 dB hotter in the bass, and it sounds great to me. Now Don Dunn comes over and he's got to have his bass 20 dB higher. He's it's like a car audio system when he comes over. I don't like that much bass, but I do like some thick bass and deep bass, which I'm sure you do too.
I do. I do. I feel like when you're doing this room correction, I think most of the time it sucks away some of the response, and I think people feel that the sound isn't better that way. But then you get more clarity in the high end in the mid range. But then I think people are just more their focus is more like where's the bass at, whatever.
I've heard a lot of compression with auto room correction systems. Like it just doesn't sound as dynamic, or like with Odyssey, it'll dump your two channels. It'll make such a strong phantom center that it just sounds artificially
Yeah,
centered.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
don't hear the spaciousness in the recording anymore.
yeah.
I don't like that. So if I can't get, I'm biased towards music. You're obviously a home theater guy. I'm more of a music guy. If I can't get the two channel good in my home theater system, I'll do whatever I have to fix that first. I want to have someone sit down and just listen to my main speakers and be blown away by two speakers. And then I base everything else on that. And I get my center channel to match that as best as I can, get the bass right, and then I get all the other speakers in at that point. So I would be I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I set up a home theater system that you can't listen to two channel music on.
I feel like they should be separate, but that's just me though.
I have both. I mean, I have two
Yeah.
channel here, but your home theater should be able to do good two channel.
But it feels weird though. You're like sitting in the theater. Like I like. I'm not saying my room feels like a movie theater, but I like it to almost feel like a movie theater. Whereas the living room, I feel like I should feel like I'm just in a fucking room, and just music comes at me. I don't
Yeah,
know if
but
that makes sense,
good
but
sound
that's
is
just me.
good sound, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I did a test with my wife when I ran the optimizer on the Trinov, also on Integra, Wipeout, not Wipeout, whatever,
Yamaha.
whatever Integra uses and Nokia uses,
Oh, sub
Macaque or something
EQ
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hey, which one do you think sounds better? And we sat in like the second row at the time, and I put the Trinov on. She's like, I did like an A/B test. She's like, oh, one sounds bigger. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, she said the optimizer sounded bigger, and then the other one sounded like more boomier sounding. Which I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I just want to make sure, like, from like fucking nobody that knows that in that particular case, the optimizer did kind of bring out some more. It wasn't as heavy sounding with the bass, which I
Hmm.
got, but so it took away bass. I was like, yeah, I understand what she's talking about, but at the same time, there seemed to be more spaciousness to it. And then the Integra at the time, this was like 4 years ago, with the Integra, she's like, oh yeah, she's like, yeah, it sounds bigger, and the other one just sounds like it's really loud because it was just way bass heavy. So I mean, do people get persuaded just because there's more bass, and they just
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. And
or do people know what the mix should sound like, what good sound should sound like?
no, but there's people tend to like more bass. Sean Olive from Harmon, he sent me this funny link about people that have too high testosterone, like their bass levels too high. So I sent
Yeah.
that to Don. I sent that to Don. I go, dude, lower your testosterone, man. You get your bass levels too high. Here's the evidence that shows that. But yeah, no, there's if you go and do an A/B demo in a store with
Yeah.
speakers, I mean, people that's Klipsch knows the game really well. Their speakers are louder. You know, when you switch from their speaker to someone else's, they're bassier. And if you're doing a quick comparison, you're going to gravitate towards louder and bassier. But if
Mm,
you're doing controlled listening tests and you're a trained listener, then you'll listen for neutrality, and people generally prefer neutrality.
yeah. That's what I find when I try to do like a home theater review. Like like people are like, yeah, it's got to be at like a reference level 85 dB or whatever. But I
That's
feel like that,
super loud.
yeah, I feel like I was like, you can't hear separation
Super loud.
clearly enough for that. Like, you got to
Yeah.
keep it at like a moderate level so you can hear the details rather than having the details meshed together. And it just shit sounds mono, anyways.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I tend sometimes I listen too loud. I mean, when I listen to two channel and I really get into it, or when I upmix, I look at the SPL meter and it's averaging around 78, 80 dB. So probably 5 dB louder than it should be. But I also don't listen for like 3 hours. I maybe listen for an hour, hour and a half. I fall asleep or I just do something else.
I think if you're watching a movie and you can listen to it like way below whatever reference level is, 75, 85, and there's a ton of bass at that low level, and there's like sound is fucking immaculate. I think that's a reference piece. Then if you can crank it up a little bit louder and your speakers don't compress, then it's a killer
Yeah.
mix.
The interesting thing is when you have a system that's really clean, it doesn't sound that loud. Like
Yeah,
in my theater room, I crank it at ridiculous levels. I don't think it's that loud. And then I pull the SPL meter out and I'm over 100 dB. I'm like, holy shit. But if I go to one of my wife's parties or family's parties, they're Colombian, and they have these
yeah,
giant horn loaded white van
yeah.
speakers playing music, I can't sit in there. Like the distortion of the horn and just, it's super loud to me. Like it bothers me.
Like
And it's
a
probably not as loud as what I'm playing when I'm cranking my system up.
like a Kenta. Uh,
It's a little bit bright.
Shane, would you consider audio and video testing on streaming series? I feel like I do. Oh, that's a tough one because streaming series, if you're talking about like TV shows, that would mean I would have to invest in watching several episodes of series. And let's face it, there's not that many good series out. So probably not. I think that I've only done a review on one series. That was The Mandalorian season 1. And listen, season 1 looks like season 2. Audio hasn't changed and looks equally as good. So I think that's it. But no, I wouldn't invest all that time on the series. But thank you for the super chat, though. Appreciate that. Another super chat from Scott Woodford. Best starting Dolby Atmos speaker, small room, coming from a sound bar. Gene, what Atmos speaker should he buy?
You mean in ceiling or bouncy house? Or what about a virtualized thing like that Sony system that you reviewed? Did you like that? That Sony?
I did like, yeah, I did like it. I did like it.
I mean, that's like a really convenient system for someone that doesn't want to put speakers all around. It's just
Yeah,
4 speakers and a sub, right?
4 speakers and stuff. And if you get a Sony TV, the TV is a center channel.
I can't see how that could work because the TV speakers sound like shit. I mean, come on. I've got the 85-inch Sony, and
Listen, if you're buying the system, you
yeah,
probably don't care what the center channel sounds like.
yeah, I guess.
I don't think I was that critical of it. I thought it sounded, for what it was, it sounded good. I mean, but if I was to be critical about it, I'd be like, oh, if I was critical, I'd be like, the whole system sounds like shit. But for what it accomplished for 4 speakers and a TV, that
I
sounded
mean, if you want
pretty damn
cheap
good.
and you want good for the money, the new Monoprice Encore series is good stuff. But you still have to put speakers in the ceiling. Otherwise, you could do the bouncy house ones, which don't work as well, but it's better than nothing. Definitely coming from a soundbar, it's going to be an improvement.
So there you go, man. Listen, if you want to keep it simple, for $1,800, go with the Sony HTA9 or with the Monoprice. This might be the first time I'm not recommending. If Gene's recommending, go for some Monoprice speakers. Check that out. Pretty cheap. What is it, like $20 a pair for Atmos speakers?
$20 a pair.
Oh, am I wrong? My bad.
I think they're like
Dude.
four something a pair for the bookshelves and like 800 for the towers.
All
That's
right. Well, still,
on some channels, man. That's like top of the line. And it's not saying it's bad. It's just there's people that look for good deals on budget stuff, and they're at the top of their game mono price with that new series.
all right. That's it. Anything else here?
I am tired. Someone just said, "Wake up, Gene." I've been like dragging ass all day since I got up this morning.
Yeah, fucking COVID.
It's like one of those days. I think it was the Subwoofer squats yesterday. It just knocked me out.
Dude, I'm picking up 200-pound boxes all the time. What are you talking about? You got a little tiny 12-inch sub. Wait, what sub was that? Was that an RBH?
That was a single 12 with a 1,000-watt amp. Yeah, that was light. That was like 60 pounds.
When is Shane going to Gene's Cable Challenge? Hold on. When is this February? When's that thing in February you're talking about? I was thinking about that today. Actually.
Oh, the Audio Expo show in February. Yeah. I think that's the 18th, Florida Audio Expo. Let me see. I thought you were coming when it was warmer for beach stuff. Should come for the Audio Expo show. That's on February 18th through the 20th.
Dude, I'm 27 pounds heavier than I usually weigh because of COVID.
Oh, are you?
In the way I'm going.
You got to do intermittent fasting, man. I ate like a pig for 3 days during Christmas, and I didn't gain a pound because I starved myself at night.
I had to throw on this dark shirt because this white shirt, my gut was like...
You're like Leonardo DiCaprio for Don't Look Up. He gained like 30 pounds in that movie, man.
He looks like that normally. He's like skinny fat. I feel like I'm skinny fat.
He didn't look good in that movie, but he looked like a professor, so I think he did it deliberately. Yeah,
that makes sense. Well, he's still not like buff anyways or in shape anyways.
No, he's not like Zac Efron that did steroids. He went from a skinny guy to like completely swole in like one movie.
Yeah, Baywatch.
Yeah, or the one with Dwayne Johnson. He did a movie with
Baywatch.
Was it Baywatch? I thought there was another. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it or was it when is Shane going? Oh yeah. Wait, what day was that? February 18th? Was that a weekend?
Yeah.
Was that a weekend?
18th through the 20th, so it's like a weekend, Friday through Sunday. I'm only gonna go for a day.
Wait, what is it called?
Florida Audio Expo.
Audio Expo. Wait, what do they have there?
It's 2-channel.
Is your compadres gonna show up?
Who?
Daily Hi-Fi. Is Joe going to be there?
Oh, I don't think so. I have no idea.
And
maybe Youth Man, because Youth Man lives in Florida. He might be there.
Oh, let me see. What do they got here? Oh, let me share that screen.
It's a small, it's a niche 2-channel thing. I mean, it should be right up your alley. There's a ton of cable vendors there.
Welcome to Florida Audio Expo 2022.
Oh, and Michael Fremer might be there too. You get to meet him.
Jeez, look at that shit, dude. Purchase tickets. Who is it going to be? A Triangle Project, MSB, TD. Who are these people? These are the douchey companies.
Yeah,
I don't know a single one of them.
Yeah. VAC, it's a tube amp company. They're in Sarasota, I think.
Is that RBH? Yeah,
I told them about it, and they're believe they're going to be showing the speakers that are here, my red speakers. They're going to pick these up in my house and bring them there.
All right, so are we going to put you in the douchey category? Because these are all the douchey brands.
Hey,
man.
I've got to behave at this show because last time I did some cable stuff and they didn't like it, and they kicked me off the sponsorship list. So
Triangle's there. Triangle's not a douchey brand. Synergistic Research. That's an interesting.
Oh
name.
Yeah, that's the quintessential douche.
Huh? Sumiko, Biega, huh? Vivid Audio. They got some interesting speakers.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they look like fruits.
Yeah, yep. Supposed to be pretty good.
That's what I hear. Oh, Bob Carver's still alive?
Not him. He's got someone else running the company. Well, he is still alive, but every time I've seen them, he wasn't there.
Huh.
Riga. There you go.
Yeah, they do this in New York too at the New York Audio Show. I went there that one year, and I think I got the most views they ever had. And then
if you want a real amplifier, man, get a Boulder. Those things weigh like 300 pounds.
Yeah, from Colorado. I was gonna hit them up, but I was like, no.
It's insane. They have RBH had one of their top amps when they did a demo of a flagship speaker back in the day, and it was like the price on just the 2-channel amp or the monoblocks. I'm sorry, $100,000 for the two of them.
For Boulder?
Boulder, yeah.
Damn. They're not going to give me those for free, huh?
No, you're not getting those for free, man.
All right, I got to clear it the way. I mean, this kind of shit I don't like going to because it's like, I think I spoke to the Chord guys when I was at the New York audio show. And I was there with the camera. Everybody was really nice. Just the Chord guys. I was like this fucking fat guy in his white button-down shirt. He was like 320 pounds. He was like all sweating with his iPad mini and his Rune. I was like, hey, can you just go over real quick with the what we're looking at here, and can you go with the price? He's like, what? He's like, price? I was like, yeah, just for the audience. He's like, no, price. I was like, okay, dude. It's like, whatever, man.
That's when you just don't give them coverage at all when they have an attitude. Yeah.
I was like, skip. Let me just walk out of here. I should have kept it in the video.
Yeah.
But he was like fucking rude. All right.
I'm gonna go watch. I'm gonna go catch up on one of those movies. Which one should I watch? I can't get Dune now. I have to go and buy it, or I just gotta wait till you bring it in February.
It's 1 o'clock. Well, you don't go to sleep till 5 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't matter.
It's true.
All right, so let's end it here. Thanks, guys, for checking the video. You're gonna sign up for Spirit Change Patreon. If you want to sign up for Spirit Change Patreon, you can sign up for Audioholics Patreon. Check out whatever videos coming Gene's way. I got a new Hisense video maybe coming out tomorrow if I can wrap that up. Very first Hisense ultra short throw projector video.
Nice.
If you follow me on Instagram, you can see a little sneak peek behind the scenes of the photo there. Also, just like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out.